In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make this toolbox heater with a thrifted toolbox, some stovepipe, and some candles. Welcome back to Korth Backyard Farms, all you gorgeous garden gnomes. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to build a super simple, cheap heater for your greenhouses or for your workshops out of a old toolbox and some stovepipe. So the idea here is to take the stovepipe and cut out the center of the lid, and then we can JB weld the seam where it's going to meet there. So there'll be candles inside of the toolbox, and then when you light the candles, they'll heat up the air inside of the stovepipe, and then the air will come out, heat up the rest of the room, the greenhouse. One side will be for air intake, so it'll bring in cool air, and then the hot air will come out the other side. But before we get to cutting into this and then attaching the pipe, we're going to give this a little bit of a clean, and then I think we'll probably spray paint it with some heat resistant black paint. So here we're using this circa 1850 paint stripper or furniture stripper. Before I get that completely open, wear gloves. If you're wearing clothes that you'd want to protect, you could change out of those clothes, or you could wear something over top of them, a work apron. So the instructions on the bottle say to saturate your surface that you're wanting to strip, and then you can leave it to let it soak for about 5 minutes and then scrape off the paint. Since we've got a couple of sides here, I'm going to do it in a couple of sections. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes or so. I'm going to give a little scrape with this paint scraper, and we'll see how it's done so far. So I think either it needs a little bit more time, or I just need to let it sit for a little bit longer. So we're going to add a little bit more, and then we'll let it sit. Alright, so I had a slight change of plans. The scraper just wasn't scraping well enough, and I think because it is cold in here, the reaction of the chemicals is a little bit slower. So we've got a little space heater going, trying to get this place heated up, get a little bit warmer, and then I also put some like a plastic bag over top of it to let the chemical kind of work into the paint and work on that a little bit. And it does seem to be doing a little bit better, but I found that steel wool does a much better job of getting this paint off of here. So that's what we're going to do going forward. Alright, so you get the idea of this. Just scrub, wipe off the paint. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back when this is cleaned up. Alright, so we're going to mark off where we're going to cut out for our stovepipe to sit on top of. The toolbox is 8.5 inches across here, so we're going to mark off at 4 1/4. to find the center. And then, because I don't want the pipe to sit all the way in or fall right through, right? We just want it to sit on the bottom. We're gonna go, this is a 4-inch pipe, so we're gonna go about 3 inches across. So we'll do 1.5 at our center point to either side. It'll give us a 3-inch gap to cut, and we'll actually do the same thing on the other side. And then when we take our straight edge, line up those 2 dots. So now we'll take our metal cutting tool of choice and we'll cut right down those lines. All right, so we've got our cut-off tool, safety equipment, so safety glasses and hearing protection. Okay, so I stripped off most of the paint. I sanded off some of the rust on the toolbox, and then I took a couple of different grinders and cut out the top where the handle was and the sides enough so that the pipe will sit on the top straight edges there. The pipe will sit on there pretty well. I think I'll tape the underside, and then we're going to use some of this JB Weld here. This is a high heat, so hopefully it will stand up. It says 232 degrees Celsius, so I think that this will do for our purposes here to heat the greenhouse. I'm going to tape the pipe to the bottom of the lid, and then I'll be able to hold this in place and put the epoxy on there. We'll let it cure overnight because tomorrow I want to get this painted up. We have some black high heat enamel, and then it will be ready to go, and we'll get some candles into it and test it out. I'm not sure where my painter's tape went, so we're going to use some of this tuck tape. I'm sure it'll do just fine. So I've never actually done any kind of work with epoxy before, but this stuff comes in kind of 2 separate syringes in one, and you just kind of mix it together on a disposable surface and then apply it to the surface that you want to join together. So this says to allow 15 hours for it to cure before putting it into use. So then we should be able to attempt to heat the greenhouse tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly how much I'm going to need. Maybe we'll do about that much. That's probably about half. that's about it. Put it back upright. And we'll leave that for tonight. We'll come back tomorrow and get it painted up. And then we can get this tested out. Alright, so we are in the greenhouse now. Have the heater on. There's candles in here in the toolbox section, which will then heat up the air inside of the stovepipe. This side is our inlet, so the cold air comes in on this side, gets heated up as it goes through the stovepipe, and then comes out hopefully warm on the other side. Right now, the top of the toolbox is about 110 degrees. So the top of the the top of the stovepipe is about 32 degrees, almost 33. And then coming out about 19, almost 20 degrees, the air temperature coming out of there. So as you can tell, as I'm talking here, you can probably see my breath. It is heating up the greenhouse to about 1 degree. So not super impressive, but it is keeping it above freezing just, which is great if you are wanting to grow cold hardy crops, kale, or at least kind of keep them alive for a little bit longer until some warmer temperatures come around. So this could work for that, but for our purpose of when we are going to be starting our seeds in March, when temperatures do start to climb up during the day, but our overnight temperatures still drop pretty low, this should help us to keep some warmth in the greenhouse, enough for those seedlings to survive. And yeah, as we go along, I'll probably make some improvements to this, some insulation on the inside to help direct that heat more towards the stovepipe rather than here and off to the sides. And I am using a pipe clamp to keep the lid up because it does need more air for the candles to stay lit. So I think drilling a couple of holes in the toolbox section is going to be needed to allow airflow, and then to be able to keep this lid closed and direct more of that heat into the stovepipe. So we've got some things that we can work to improve on, and we'll revisit this and update you as we go along into our seed starting season. If you like this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Kawartha Backyard Farms' mission is to help everybody who is interested in growing food to grow more efficiently and to share knowledge and share food with our communities.